This is The Drive with Mark Pinatelli.
New Bern Sporting Goods, 3721 Trent Road in New Bern. All of your athletic equipment needs, screen printing, embroidery, plaques, and trophies. And don't forget, renovation sale. Everything must go. Got to get there before Friday, though. So head on down to New Bern Sporting Goods, 3721 Trent Road in New Bern, and save a ton of money on sporting goods right now. That's right, mbsports.net, New Bern Sporting Goods. Yeah, we're always in the game. I'm sorry, struggling here. I have this fancy new sound effects machine, and it's not working well. But we do have a phone call. Yes, a special guest joining us, and I do not have his hit ready. I'm so sorry. Such a letdown.
You spent so long working on it this morning.
I spent all day working on it, and it's not ready. But Jordan Honeycutt, Sun Journal sports writer, how are you doing, buddy?
Hey, what's up, guys? How y'all doing?
Yeah, I'm doing well, man. I'm just bummed out. I almost want to start completely over now, but it's okay. We can't do it. It's been a rough day, man. As you well know, being a Celtics fan, I just did not want to. I didn't even want to do a show today.
Yeah, I imagine it's a rough one, but I mean, you're still not behind in the series.
God, dude, you and Sam, it's only best of three.
It's
best
tied.
Of three. I'm not feeling.
It's a best of three, and you got two at home. So I mean,
and they still haven't lost at home. Help me out here, Jordan. We need to give, because Mark has been in a depressed, just foul mood all day because of his Boston Celtics. I'm trying to pull him up out of the gutter. He's not even letting me do it. I'm trying to let him know that his Celtics are still right in this thing.
magical bacon in the house.
Now it works.
I mean, all they have to do is win at home. So I mean, like you said, they've. But I see where Mark's going, because you want to win one of those games in Cleveland, and then you feel really good about it. I see where he's coming from. If I, this is hard for me to even get out of my mouth, but if I was a Celtic fan, I would have wanted game 3 or 4 very bad. I would have thought we had to win one.
Yes, I did. That was kind of the way that was my mindset. And the thought was, that means you got 2 more games at home, and you'd only have to win one of those home games in order to win the series. So absolutely. Absolutely. So I feel a little let down, but I get what you're saying about the disappointment when it comes to, again, as I said, they had played so well, and again, I get it. I understand the difference in venues, but the night and day difference between really both of these teams when it comes to how different that they've played out between Boston and Cleveland.
Yeah, I almost tweeted out last night, but I think for some reason I didn't. It amazes me how Boston's defense does not travel. I mean, their defense is night and day. How they played against Cleveland and Boston, and how they played against Cleveland and Cleveland. I mean, it's just, I don't, but people say defense always travels. Well, no, it doesn't in this series. And then on the flip side, Cleveland plays better defense at home than, it's just weird. It's a weird series like that. I don't, usually what a team is defensively, that's what they are. But this series has not been that way.
Yeah, and ultimately what I feel is this. What I feel is, and we had Antoine Scott on yesterday, and when you've been undefeated at home as Boston has been, it feels great, but at the same time you think, well, you're bound to lose one at some point. If anybody's going to do it, it could be LeBron James and this Cleveland team. And honestly, now Cleveland having this momentum, I think my apprehension is, I feel like if Boston loses this game now, then that's it. It won't never make it back to Boston, and Cleveland will win this in 6. And I think ultimately that's kind of where I feel right now at this point.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. I mean, I don't think if you lose game 5 at home, it's not going 7. I mean, I think there's only two out. I think there's really 2 outcomes, that are possible now. I think it's either going 7 or Cleveland wins in 6. But so I think Boston has to. I think Boston has to, and that's if. I think Boston has to get this next one. I mean, they cannot afford to lose this next one.
Jordan,
is what I'm trying.
You mentioned that this is kind of a strange series, and I guess I want to ask both of you this because something that I've noticed when it comes to the Celtics, and more specifically Brad Stevens, is it seems like he's kind of ruptured the player-coach blame continuum. It seems like oftentimes when we talk about, in any sport, when the team loses, fingers are pointed at the coach. When the team wins, the praise goes to the players. But it's the opposite in Boston. It seems like when the Celtics are doing really good, everyone's like, man, this Brad Stevens, look what he's doing with these scrubs at this Boston team. Like, who thought that Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum and Terry Rozier would have a chance against LeBron James? Wow, Brad Stevens is such a good coach. But then on the flip side of that, when they lose, nobody is criticizing Brad Stevens for this coaching decision or that coaching decision. I thought him pulling Aaron Baines out of the game last night in replacement for Marcus Morris when Marcus Morris was, cold as anything. I thought that was a questionable, right? I thought that was a questionable decision, but nobody's criticizing Brad Stevens today. The blame goes to the players. That's some weird phenomenon we've never seen before.
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, nobody's building up and crediting Ty Lue for Cleveland's too. I mean, like you said, everybody's like, oh, LeBron and the other Cavaliers and this and that. There's nobody gives credit to Ty Lue and then like you said, I mean, had Boston, swept this series, oh my God, Brad Stevens would be, right there with Red Auerbach, and I mean he's still got a long way to go to get to that point. Obviously, Brad Stevens has never won a championship. I think he will, but it's just I get what you're saying. Yeah, I mean we don't give credit to the Celtics players as much as we do Brad Stevens. And on the flip side, like you said, yeah, I mean, we don't give much. I don't think we give as much credit to Ty Lue as as we do the Cavs players.
Speaking on that, continuing on the Brad Stevens talk real quickly, the award that Dwayne Casey won a couple of weeks ago or whatever, that was from the coaches, the National Association of Coaches or some basketball coaches, the NABC. The actual NBA Coach of the Year award hasn't been awarded. Dwayne Casey is a finalist, and Brad Stevens is. But did you notice, and again, I bring that up because I was up in arms that Brad Stevens didn't even get a single vote for this Coach of the Year award. But did you notice the Toronto Raptors, after firing Dwayne Casey, sent a congrats coach tweet to Dwayne Casey after he was named finalist? Did you see this? What organization fires a guy and then congratulates him on his nomination for Coach of the Year, right? Like that's wrong.
That's pretty savage, right?
So I mean, there's some sort of like,
I mean, I get it.
You know what I mean? It's like a professional courtesy. You know what I mean? Like Dwayne Casey was there for like 30-something years, it felt like. So like at least he knew people in the Raptors organization. And so it's just sort of like, hey, Coach, congratulations on this. We still don't want you back because we've been through this, and you're not that good of a coach.
And we're getting ready to hire Jerry Stackhouse.
Mm-hmm. They interviewed him in Chicago yesterday, too.
Ooh.
He had an official interview with the Toronto Raptors organization yesterday.
Toronto. Yeah, you heard it here first. But anyways, your thoughts on going forward, too, when we talk about this series and Brad Stevens and as far as the coaching and I mean, heading into this game Wednesday night, you were talking about how night and day the defense is, and I'm with you. I think defense travels. I think we bring that up in football because we talk about going to play in cold weather and defense travels. I don't know. Again, it seems to me, I think the reason why, after not seeing it for 2 games, I wonder how can they just flip a switch because they're in a different place and all of a sudden put that pressure on. I was telling Sam today, 11 open shots. That's how many open shots that the LeBron James got last night. He'd only had 10 open shots in the previous 3 games combined. So how can Brad Stevens get these guys to just turn the switch on and play defense on Wednesday?
I don't know. It's like it goes back to, in addition to defense, the effort was so much better in Boston. The guys were flying around. They were getting the loose balls. They weren't doing that in Cleveland. So
they were also hitting shots. I mean, they missed 15 dunks or layups last night, and
Oh yeah, they shot the ball terribly in both games in Cleveland.
So that's the other thing.
Yeah, their offense, nothing traveled. I guess we could say to Cleveland, nothing. Just the team and the luggage. That's all that traveled to Cleveland.
Yeah.
So to get back to Boston, I guess it's a mindset. It's got to be a mental thing, man. I obviously having never played pro sports, I don't know how some of these guys think, but it's got to be just a mental thing where you don't feel as comfortable away from your home court. But these guys are pros. They, like you said, they won on the road during the regular season. They should be okay. But who knows, some kind of mental stigma that these guys attach and it screws them up. I don't know.
Yeah, I think ultimately it may come down to the fact that only if you play for the Cleveland Cavaliers do you wake up in Cleveland, Ohio, excited and determined and ready to tackle the day. Because, at the end of the day, it's still Cleveland, Ohio. And I think ultimately that's what Boston can blame. the quality of the city.
I want to go back just a second to the Coach of the Year award that's going to be coming up, because I was looking at the finalists. So you mentioned Dwayne Casey. Brad Stevens also a finalist. The third finalist is Quinn Snyder of the Utah Jazz. And I wanted to talk about it because I've never gotten Jordan's opinions on Quinn Snyder. Quinn Snyder, a Duke guy. Jordan, a Duke fan. Number one, I guess, Jordan, the nice question is, what are your thoughts on Quinn Snyder? Because it seems like he kind of came out of nowhere, out of sort of flaming out at Mizzou back when he was the coach there. He's reworked himself and reestablished himself as a legitimate basketball coach, and now he is here, the third finalist essentially for the NBA Coach of the Year. But I guess the not so nice question, man, every time I look at Quinn Snyder, I feel like he just finished blowing down a giant mountain of cocaine and is just flying high on some sort of Quaalude, Oxycontin cocktail. What's going on with Quinn Snyder?
Obviously, like you said, obviously I like him because he's a Duke guy. He used to be on the bench with Coach K, and like you said, he's been a head coach in college. He's been been a head coach in the pros now. He's had a great year. I mean, obviously, my vote for Coach of the Year would go to Dwayne Casey. Still, I just think because Toronto winning the East, I think is that big of an accomplishment that yes, I think them finishing better than Boston, finishing better than Cleveland, was a great accomplishment for him, and I didn't think he should have got fired and all that. With Quinn Snyder, like you said, his looks, he does kind of look like a little bit like he
had a long night,
stressed out stockbroker.
Yeah, he's got that stockbroker look, that rich privileged, white kid look. I mean, I can see that. But,
why does Duke attract those kind of people? Why is it that every white guy who comes through Duke gives off that same exact look? J.J. Redick was the same way. John Shire's the same way. Kyle Singler, Grayson Allen. Y'all got that other little kid who's getting ready to be there next year you picked up who reclassified.
Redick looks stressed out, too. I know he's got the tattoos and he's a little younger, but doesn't he look like he's...
Yeah, give him 10 years. He's going to look just like Quinn Snyder.
You ever looked at the tuition prices to go to Duke? I mean, that's why you get
it's the student loans, those phone calls.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's what they do with all that extra money that Jeff Capel gives them on the side.
Ooh.
Yeah, I don't know anything about any of that, but yeah, I don't know. Quinn Snyder, I envy him because he's someone that I don't know if he parts his hair in the middle or if he just lets it fall like that. But do you know how hard it is as someone with long hair now You know how hard it is to pull off parting your hair in the middle? And
I
that guy
don't.
does
I
it.
don't actually.
That
Please
is
enlighten me. Like
fantastic.
I need to know more because Mark has a buzzed haircut.
Listen,
I have a
this-
very just like normal, I think, haircut.
I think this interview was okay. Like it was okay. I'm not saying it was bad or awful. It was okay. But now it's Marconi level. Now we're talking award-winning stuff. Tell us more.
Yeah, I mean, to be able to part your hair in the middle, man, I mean, that's and pull it off and actually, look good. I mean, Quinn Snyder's he's a good-looking dude. I
Looks
mean,
like
to be able to
Skeletor.
pull that off is just it's tough to do, man. So I got to tip my hat to him for that. But then Utah, obviously, as a team, they are. He got the absolute most out of how much was Donovan Mitchell's year, Donovan Mitchell, and how much was very good coaching. I mean, I give Mitchell a majority of the credit for that, but I mean, Snyder obviously put him in the position to succeed. So, and he pushed a lot of right buttons to get Utah, to the second round of the playoffs. So.
All right. Well,
I mean,
no, that's enough about that because I really don't care about the Utah Jazz basketball team because I need to know more about hair. You mentioned that you do have long hair, Jordan. You have a gorgeous head of hair. You work hard on it every day. It shows. Walk me through the process of Jordan Honeycutt getting ready in the morning, getting that hair ready. Because I myself I get out of the shower, put the towel on my head, rub it real fast. It's dry. I push it over. I walk out the door.
I have no hair for the radio audience. I have absolutely no hair whatsoever.
But then I see my girlfriend. She has to let her hair air dry and then blow dry and then straighten it. There's product, there's all sorts of stuff. Right. What is the Jordan Honeycutt hair process?
The ritual.
Well, for me, I mean, I wish I could do more to it, and I'm super self-critical, self-conscious of my hair. But I wish I could do more to it. But I usually just wet it with water, and where I can flick it back. And obviously that dries very quickly, and then it's gone. You watch professional wrestling, you see the guys that I don't know what they put on their hair. I'm still trying to figure that. Anybody knows?
Brill cream.
If anybody
It's Brill cream.
tell me, but you got their hair looks wet for like an entire 30 minute to an hour match. I mean, so anything that could keep it looking, I think it looks better with a wet look. Anything that can keep that look, somebody help me out. But no, I do have some gel and stuff, but I usually don't. I usually don't give myself time to put that on. I usually go to the office right before. I usually just spend like a typical guy 15 20 minutes getting ready, getting dressed and getting my hair done and all that, and then I'm off to the office. So I don't do anything special. I wish I could tell you something special, but I don't. Just flick it back with good old H2O.
You brought up a great point, though, as we close down this segment today. I never realized, and again, I don't watch a ton of professional wrestling, but you bring up a great point. I don't see many of them with messed up hair. And let me just tell you, if you go tussle with another grown man today, let's say you and another grown man have beef. If I'm like, let me tell you something, Sam Avalos, I'm tired of your mouth, and you and I are going to go at it. The chances are your hair's going to look a little frayed,
You're
right?
gonna rough me up a little bit. Hair's not gonna look good.
I am amazed at professional, and it's got to be the product, right?
Yeah.
How can
agree.
the
I don't
hair
know.
still stay this way after I fought 15 minutes for the World Television Championship, the tag team championship of the world?
I don't know if it's some kind of gel, if it's some kind of oil. I don't know. I've tried to Google it.
It's Brill
Can't
cream.
I can't find it out. I don't know what it is, but like you said, I mean, it'll stay that way for the whole match. The guys with long hair, that look it back like you look at like a Roman Reigns or the way Triple H used to do his, and it'll stay that way through a whole, like you said, through a whole high velocity match. And I don't know how they do it, but
Mark
I guess
says
it's a
it's
secret
Brill
to-
cream.
It's Brill cream, man. I'm telling you. Brill cream, BRYL cream. And go buy it today. It's probably at a local Rite Aid or somewhere, a local store somewhere. But for more Jordan Honeycutt, you can find him by picking up a copy of the Sun Journal, newbernsj.com/sports. You can follow him on Twitter, jhoneycutt_NBSJ. Jordan, man, thank you as always. Always great to talk to you, sir. And happy Memorial Day.
Absolutely, man. I'm combing my hair as we speak, so you know,
Sweet.
that was a good segment. So happy Memorial Day to everybody, and you know, thanks to you know, it's always good to
Thank Brill
remember
Kramer.
everything that makes us you know, what we are as a country and everything else.
Absolutely. We need to take a break. We'll do that and come back. More of East Carolina Sports Show, and you're right on coming up.